The Arctic, an extreme and hostile wilderness. Wild lands ruled by the power of ice. On these rocky outposts, nature is truly pushed to its limit. During winter, these isolated lands are locked in ice, and 24 hours of night. But summer brings round-the-clock sun, and these Arctic islands burst into life, attracting animals from all over the globe for a summer feeding frenzy. But this window of opportunity is short. The Arctic's creatures must grab what they can before the brutal winter returns. Covering an area larger than the whole of Europe, this is the Arctic Ocean during winter. For over half the year, almost 98% of its surface is ice. But during the summer thaw, around 25 million square kilometers of sea ice will gradually disappear, revealing some truly wild, weather-beaten islands. Just over 1,000 kilometers from the North Pole, this is Svalbard, an isolated and barren archipelago, 60% covered by glaciers. With the ocean no longer frozen, Svalbard's rocky shoreline becomes a refuge for many Arctic species. But this region's deadliest predator is determined to remain on this rapidly melting sea ice for as long as she can. 80 kilometers from shore, a hungry female polar bear is conserving her energy. But she can't sleep all day. She needs to find something to eat. Though there's always time for an early morning stretch. Despite evolving from the brown bear just 150,000 years ago, she is now perfectly adapted to life here in the Arctic. Although she appears white, the fur covering her black skin is actually translucent, allowing her to absorb as much heat as possible from the weak sun here in the Arctic. She is one of around 25,000 polar bears thought to inhabit the Arctic region. But constantly on the move, in this vast habitat, there is much about polar bears that remains a mystery. She uses her camouflage and powerful sense of smell to track down and ambush any seals resting on these ice floes. Polar bears can weigh as much as 10 men, but despite her size, she's capable of swimming hundreds of kilometers and is classified as a marine mammal. Moving gracefully through the water, she searches for prey. But as the gaps between these ice floes grow ever bigger, it becomes easier for any seals to escape. Eventually, the lack of ice and seals will force her to return to land. But today, she has picked up a scent. A few scraps left over from another bear's kill. Such meager meals out here on the sea ice won't support a bear of this size for much longer. But 80 kilometers south, a bigger marine mammal with an even bigger appetite has already arrived on Svalbard's shoreline for the summer. The broad shingle beaches of Hinlopen Strait attract Svalbard's largest colonies of Atlantic walrus. Around 2,000 haul out here each summer to raise their young. Between feeding, the colony separates into large clusters, taking long naps, sometimes lasting as long as a week. Huddling together for warmth like this helps conserve their own energy. But when one group becomes too crowded, this walrus decides it's time to relocate. The other group is only 30 meters away. But when you're as big as a walrus, it could take all day. When on shore, walrus are the heaviest land animals in the Arctic. But despite his size and fearsome tusks, he lives on a diet of shellfish, eating up to 6,000 clams a day. This apparent gluttony is vital for survival. Their thick blubber enables them to withstand the Arctic Ocean's grueling temperatures all year round. It seems the big male set off a little too fast. He'll need to pace himself if he wants to make it all the way to the other group. After more than an hour, he finally arrives. But now comes the hard part. The middle of the pile is the best spot, but getting there will take some doing. Luckily, walrus have no manners when it comes to getting into a prime position. His clumsy clambering stirs the entire group, and squabbles break out in the chaos. bad news for all the baby walrus in the group. Weighing only a tenth of the adults around him, being crushed to death is a daily hazard for the youngsters. The baby tries to squeeze himself up and out of the crush to escape the stampede. It's his only hope to avoid being trapped or even impaled by a wayward tusk. But once the male settles into position, the group eventually calms down. And the little walrus finally finds a safer position on the top of the heap. At its deepest point, the surface of the Arctic Ocean is over 5,000 meters from the seabed. But here in Svalbard, the freezing waters become shallow and smash straight into an immense wall of rock. Stretching across the horizon, this is Outgefellet, Bird Mountain. These near-vertical subvolcanic cliffs are stained white by the droppings of hundreds of thousands of guillemots. Each summer, almost 1 million make their way to Svalbard to breed. And most of them come here, to this notorious cliff. For most animals, these tiny ledges and sheer rock faces would be no place to raise their young. But safely out of reach of most predators, space on these packed cliffs is highly sought after. Each nest site is less than half a square meter, the smallest of any nesting bird in the world. Jostling to maintain position is a daily battle. And accidentally prodding a neighbor often turns into an all-out war. Despite the squabbling, they must sometimes work together to defend themselves against any predator plucky enough to risk hunting on these cliffs. Female guillemots synchronize their egg laying, meaning all their chicks hatch at the same time. They hope this will give them safety in numbers. But it doesn't always work. This huge gull has also come here to raise its young and will make the most of any opportunity to feast on the bounty of Svalbard's guillemots. The guillemots use their ferocious calls to try to deter the gull. But 3 times their size, the gull isn't backing down. Eventually outgunned, all the guillemots can do is watch as the gull moves in to take his prize. Luckily this time, it's only a rotten egg that was abandoned weeks ago. But it's not just the eggs the gulls are after. It's also the chicks. Over the course of just a few days, all the fledglings on this cliff will be forced from their nests. Urged on by their pushy parents, each must risk a perilous leap from these sheer cliffs towards the water below. With their wings not yet fully formed, all the tiny birds can do is attempt to slow their descent and brace themselves for impact. But gravity isn't the real danger here. This mass exodus is designed to give each bird more chance of evading the thousands of hungry gulls waiting for their opportunity to strike. Not all the Guillemot chicks survive. But luckily, each year, hundreds of thousands will make it past the beaks of Svalbard's predators. And once they have built up their strength, they will soon take to the sky and fly south for the winter. At our planet's most northerly limit lies the notorious Arctic island of Ellesmere. This endless landscape may appear too harsh to support life of any kind. But this island is actually home to some of the Arctic's biggest and hardiest creatures. This relatively small pack of Arctic wolves has just become a little bigger. For the adults, supporting themselves in this barren land was hard enough. With 5 more mouths to feed, that job is now a lot tougher. But wherever there are wolves, there is usually prey nearby. A lone musk ox. Away from the herd, she's exposed. But she doesn't seem too concerned. Armed with immense horns, she could easily defend herself against the 2 wolves. But with pups to feed, they need to take a chance. They just need to bide their time. Unable to soak into the frozen ground below, the island's melted snow forms millions of ponds, perfect for a thirsty musk ox. With the musk ox distracted, now could be their only opportunity. Cautiously, the wolves close in. Joined by another juvenile, it's now too big a challenge for the wolves. Fortunately, they've spotted an easier target. The billions of insects that hatch in these wetlands attract millions of birds. So for just a few weeks of summer, this prey comes to the wolves. But here, in the Arctic, nothing is ever easy. This duck hunt is turning into a wild goose chase. Eventually, the wolves figure it out. The birds migrated here for a short summer feast, but some will never leave. But there are many animals unable to fly away to escape the Arctic's coldest months. To withstand the harsh winters on the immense island of Greenland, a tiny Arctic creature has developed the natural world's most incredible survival strategy. A woolly bear caterpillar. By the time the first spring shoots emerge, he is already up and eating. Now, it's a race against time to grow as much as possible. But no matter how fast the woolly bear eats, he doesn't build enough reserves to transform into a moth. So as winter draws in, his ingenious plan begins. He freezes, solid. His heart stops. But he doesn't die. Eight months later, when the tundra begins to thaw, miraculously, the woolly bear caterpillar comes back to life. Once again, he eats his way through the season. But he still isn't ready for metamorphosis. He refreezes, year after year, repeating this cycle up to 14 times until he's finally ready. He locks himself into a silk cocoon. Inside, a remarkable transformation takes place. And after more than a decade, he becomes a moth. Without his extraordinary patience and immunity to cold, the woolly bear caterpillar would be unable to survive this close to the North Pole. At the Arctic Ocean's most southerly point lies an island of extreme contrasts. Iceland is notorious for its cold, windswept terrain. But this is a land forged by fire. Iceland lies directly above one of the most active volcanic regions on Earth, known as the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. The eastern half of the island chain is located on the Eurasian plate, while the west sits on the North American plate. These two plates are moving in opposite directions, continuously ripping Iceland apart and creating a land of extreme volcanic activity. Iceland is subjected to over 10,000 earthquakes each year. And with 30 active volcanoes creating new land every day. This is an island being born. But for many species, Iceland is also a place to breed. This is Latraberg, Iceland's most westerly point. Standing almost 500 meters high, these sheer cliff faces stretch for almost 15 kilometers and are populated by one of the Arctic's strangest looking birds. Puffins spend their lives on the open ocean, coming to Iceland for just 3 months each year, feeding on the small fish that thrive just offshore. But they are really here to find a mate. Over 60% of the world's puffins breed on Iceland's coast. Nicknamed sea parrots, at this time of year, this puffin's beak flushes brighter to attract a partner. And as puffins can see ultraviolet light, the brightest beak is a key tool in wooing a mate. While puffins are well adapted for courtship, flying comes a little less naturally. Flapping their tiny wings at 5 times per second, the puffins barely generate enough lift to maintain altitude. But underwater, their anatomy makes more sense. Streamlined and agile, down here, puffins are far more at home. They can stay underwater for over a minute, reaching depths of 60 meters, snapping up small fish as they swim. Their colorful beaks are also ingeniously designed for hunting. Their coarse tongue and spines on the roof of their mouth hold the fish in place, allowing them to carry up to 10 in a single trip. Less hunting trips gives them time to concentrate on more important business. Every year, puffins return to old nests and rekindle the romance with their mate. Usually monogamous, they will reunite with their chosen mate each year after months apart at sea, showing their affection by the rubbing and tapping of beaks. As well as devoted partners, at this time of year, they are diligent parents as well. Instead of nests, puffins dig burrows into the cliff face. Inside the burrows, this year's chicks are growing fast. But they'll need to stay inside their burrows if they want to avoid one of the Arctic's most prolific killers. the Arctic fox, found on the cliff tops of all the Arctic islands. But on the island of Svalbard, one of these notorious assassins is hunting its sea level. Famous for its white winter fur, this Arctic fox has changed color to blend in with Svalbard's summer landscape. His is the warmest fur of any animal, able to endure temperatures down to -50 degrees. But even he doesn't fancy a swim in Svalbard's near freezing water. He searches continuously for food, capable of traveling 40 kilometers on a single trip. With no small mammals here on Svalbard, Arctic foxes scavenge just about anything to survive. A dead fish provides a little energy to help him on his quest. But they are also hunters, using speed and stealth to take advantage of any opportunity. And they are always on the lookout for any vulnerable animal that isn't paying attention. From a distance, a worried mother watches his approach carefully. This is nesting season for the Arctic tern. They may be small, but these birds are renowned for making huge journeys. Following the polar sun, Arctic terns migrate between the Arctic and Antarctic twice a year. A distance of over 70,000 kilometers. Although she's an accomplished flyer, her nest building skills are much less impressive. Her chicks are raised on little more than a patch of gravel, leaving the young birds vulnerable. This chick has decided that now would be a good time to wander off. Straight into the path of the approaching fox. And its mother is panicking. She desperately tries to force him away. Arctic terns are extremely aggressive, and she does her best to drive off the fox. If he spots the chick, there'll be little she can do. But luckily, the fox's nose has been alerted to another target. A whale carcass, preserved in ice all winter, but now rotting on the sun-drenched beach. Luckily for the Arctic terns, the stench carries for kilometers. With the fox distracted by this huge beach banquet, the reckless chick will live to see another day. Having torn off a huge strip of blubber, the fox drags it away to enjoy in this Arctic sunshine. This is now the land of the midnight sun. Everywhere north of the Arctic Circle is now bathed in sunlight for 24 hours a day. Here on Svalbard, this constant warming awakens plants that have lain dormant for months and gives many of the Arctic's hungry animals the chance to feed around the clock. Like this species of reindeer, found nowhere else on Earth. As the world's northernmost herbivore, this Svalbard reindeer has evolved unique characteristics. His fur is thicker, making him appear fat, even when close to starvation. With few predators to avoid, these reindeer have gradually evolved smaller bodies with shorter legs. He is just half the size of an ordinary reindeer, but his huge antlers are still highly impressive. As these reindeer approach the autumn rutting season, they will rub off this velvet before engaging in a battle for dominance. This Svalbard reindeer may not be too worried about predators, but cold and starvation will be real threats in winter. So the race is on, to fatten up on this carpet of lichen and moss before the end of the short summer growing season. The summer heat also produces a feeding opportunity from deep under the glaciers. This is Konsvegen, a 6-kilometer wide outlet glacier plunging directly into the ocean. With no sea ice to hold it back, this river of ice can flow forward and huge sections begin to break off in a process known as calving. But from deep below the glacier, an invisible torrent of meltwater is flowing out into the bay. Stained red with nutrients, this rich food source attracts billions of plankton. As the glacier collapses, the turbulent water brings these creatures to the surface. It's a perfect opportunity for these hungry kittiwakes. Almost 500,000 of these birds can be found feeding at the base of Svalbard's glaciers. But hunting this close to such an unstable wall of ice, the kittiwakes are risking their lives. They could easily be crushed under the weight of falling ice. Just 1 cubic meter of ice weighs almost a ton. But it's worth it. These rich feeding grounds help support this entire colony of kittiwakes during their summer breeding season. But it isn't only the rich seas that attract birds to the Arctic islands. In Iceland, a mysterious lake also brings summer visitors flocking. In the northeast, at first glance, Lake Mývatn seems like any other lake. But this is the creation of a huge lava eruption just 2,000 years ago. Look a little closer, and the signs of its volcanic past are clear to see. Vast craters surround the lake, created by a series of violent eruptions. as lava poured into the lake from over 50 kilometers away. It trapped waterlogged sediments below, causing superheated explosions, forming these strange pillars. Nearby, eruptions beneath ancient glaciers have formed the epic Table Mountains, for which Iceland is so famous. With meltwater unable to wear through this impenetrable rock, spectacular waterfalls plunge into the abyss. But even in this hostile environment, nature has found ways to exist. This desolate landscape has gradually become colonized by some ingenious plants. Harnessing volcanic minerals that leach up into the thin soil from the rock below. And the mineral-rich water provides this part of Iceland with an unusual abundance of insects, which has given this lake its name. Mývatn means midge lake. And the biting black flies that swarm over this lake in summer have created a food chain on this relatively young island. The midges here support a healthy population of fish, but they also bring the birds flocking. More species of duck can be found here than anywhere else in Europe. And Lake Mývatn's incredible biodiversity looks set to expand further. Having formed relatively recently, there are few predators on Iceland. And so the island is a safe breeding ground for many bird species. On Iceland's northern shores, a chubby resident is enjoying the last of the summer sun. Harbor seals are one of 5 seal species that find sanctuary here in Iceland's northern coves. Coming ashore for a couple of months, they're not just here to sunbathe. These pups were born here in June, many on the very same rocks as their mothers. Newborns can weigh as much as 12 kilograms and quickly gain weight. Seal milk contains 50% fat, more nutritious than any other mammal in the world. Thick layers of fat provide energy and insulation, enabling them to withstand the demands of life in the Arctic Ocean all year round. Most seal pups have a thick layer of fur at birth, but thanks to their waterproof coat, harbor seal pups are born ready to swim. In just over a month, they are weaned and fully independent. For their mothers, this marks the start of mating season. In seal hierarchy, the top-ranking males get to choose the best rocks. This male patrols the colony, keeping an eye out for other males hoping to claim top spot. A rival has taken up a good position. He decides to fight for it. But the other seal stands his ground. His challenge for the rock fails. He can only watch as his rival returns to his prime position. And it's a rock that was worth fighting for. The entire colony will remain here, hunting and feeding in these Arctic waters throughout the now rapidly approaching winter. Here on these remote and hostile islands, summer is a time of both feast and famine. Visitors make the most of the round-the-clock sun that unlocks the frozen land and sea, kick-starting a feeding and breeding frenzy. But this window of opportunity soon closes, and the sun and seas are soon hidden. Only the most specialized and hardy will remain, patrolling this vast frozen wilderness in isolation and darkness.